As a national leader, your utterance should be of national unity, but sometimes it's of contrary to Gachagua. Whenever he talks, uh, the utterance that he usually utters does not reflect the national unity. So perhaps I think these are some of the factors that I don't consider him as the most influential person. DP Kindiki should maintain the position. Is now tasked to go and collect vote from Central Kenya because we now need to neutralize Gachagua. You see, we need to split those votes. At least some comes to UDA, as some goes to DCP. Kalonzo is one person who I don't describe him as the best fit for me because as much as we are saying that this is not his last term, let me say, because he has never had. Since then, he's been deputizing Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
So you cannot rule out the fact that he has not tested this, and probably this might be his first time. And going forward, he'll be now on the presidential campaigns.
Inakuja Tungwa Nguvu, I go by the name of Ochino, the only Kenyan who is a man, a boy, and also a friend. And of course, when we see us seated here, it's because you're having a conversation that you've requested for us to have. And of course, today's conversation is a very interesting conversation, a conversation surrounding the Kenyan analysis of the Kenyan politics. And of course, a lot is happening today, being a day that also that we are recording this interview. A mass is currently ongoing for the Utumishi girls unfortunate incident that happened almost 2 weeks ago. And of course, it's also at a time when the Kenyan political space is at a point whereby the former deputy president, that is Rigathi Gachagua, it's like he's not likely to be on the ballot in 2027. How does that shape the Kenyan political space? And of course, the issue of ODM, now that John Mbadi, the CS Treasury, is likely emerging as the next Luo kingpin. Will that happen before 2027, after 2027? And will he be on the ballot in 2032? To discuss this and much more, we have a friend of the show. It's first time on the show. We've met before. And of course, if you've been watching our platforms, you have seen his videos. We'll give him a chance to introduce himself and then we'll get into the interview. Clinton.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you for creating time
For sure.
for this interview.
I'm really privileged to be with you here.
Tumekuwa tukiipangia sana, at least now it's happening.
Yeah.
Umekuwaje wewe mwenyewe personally since the last time tulikuwa nawe pale kiwanja?
It has been good. I cannot deny the fact that since we were there at the Jivanji, everything has been quite well.
Yeah.
And we are navigating quite good. Yeah, sure.
And of course today, when we're recording this interview, it's on the day when the Requiem Mass is happening pale Utumishi girls, for the girls that unfortunately lost their lives in that fire tragedy.
Yeah.
What is just your general comment on that, and also now that schools pia zimekuwa na incidences za fire sana?
Well, number one, my sincere condolence to those who lost their life. It's quite a tough time for the parents that they never expected such to happen. But I actually sometimes I get out of emotion when I see how the fire got into Tumishi girls. Personally, today being that they are having a mass ceremony, I really feel for them. I'm very much pained because they've been going through a lot since that happened, since the tragedy. And I'm perhaps sure that God, the Most High, is going to comfort them. Yes.
And of course, that event saw a lot of reaction and people suggesting different measures on how to maybe curb these incidences ili sitokee tena moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's conclude this issue now. Just your recommendations on how maybe the government or even the principals of these high schools should just try and handle these kids of this generation ili to avoid such kind of incidences moving forward.
Well, number one, they need to be taught on disaster management, because when you see such kind of tragedy happening in schools, then I guess it's now a call to every parent, to every institution, that now an institution like those ones, the teachers need to have a disaster management so that these pupils or other students can be at least be taught on how to escape on such kind of a fire tragedy. Number two, when, like in the case of the Utumishi girls, I was very shocked when I saw the video that main exits were closed from outside. Then I was wondering, was this activity planned, or how did you go about this? Because if you hear the story from all sorts of corners, from left, right, and center, then you realize that the doors were closed from outside. Then perhaps from my own perspective, then I guess all these were perhaps planned. Yes.
Let's now move forward now and get into the topics of the day. We'll start with the issue of Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah.
He's a man that his political stage or his political career came to the rise when they're going to the 2022 elections, when President William Ruto took him as his deputy president.
Yes.
A lot of people maybe did not foresee that coming, but when he was chosen up to now, his political career and his political stature imeinuka sana, surpassing even many politicians who have been there, legacy politicians.
Yeah.
But now he finds himself at a point where he stands impeached. He tried to go to court, but the court kama waliannounced that the impeachment stands.
Yeah.
And maybe kitu yenye zapata tu is that 50 million reimbursement, of which the Senate ni kama wanasema
As a national leader, your utterance should be of national unity. But sometimes it's of contrary to Gachagua. Whenever he talks, the utterance that he usually utters does not reflect the national unity. So perhaps I think these are some of the factors that I don't consider him as the most influential person. Then number two, even his party alone, the DCP, Democratic for Citizens Party, is now gaining momentum. And perhaps on the other side of the region, the central part of Kenya, I guess it's now going to get the highest number of members of parliament, members of county assemblies, senators, and governors. But that does not necessarily rule out the fact that Gachagua, as much as the impeachment was upheld, I don't think that, on my own perspective, I don't think that Gachagua now deserves to be in any of the national offices. Because number one, it was since then that then he was a DP. Gachagua was very arrogant by then. Unlike now, he now want to perceive himself as now the national leader. Gachagua is one person that, as a national leader, I don't expect that Gachagua. I can as well point out one of the at some given point when they were at the Nyandarua, I guess they were in a funeral, and Raila had did attend the funeral. Then they exchanged some bitter words, of which I never expected from a person of the stature that he was, DP. As much as somebody has wronged you, then you don't need to air out your anger public like that. Sometimes there are ways that you harmonize on your angers. So that's actually that's when I ruled him out as one of the best people or best national leaders that we need to have. On his party, DCP, as a party, at the hierarchy of the party, they need to be face of national unity. But when you come to a point, maybe you want to eliminate some people, and then you insert in your allies, then it means that there is no national unity within your party. Because I saw Harrison Obaga, then his Secretary General. He was then sacked. Let me say he was sacked, because he was the Deputy General. Then he was later appointed to Director of Finance, I guess, which is quite fine. But now, Secretary General are always the spokespersons of the party, and it should be, on my own perspective, it should be a national figure. Let me say it like that way. The person that holds the national offices should have national unity within his party. Yes. So to finish, the impeachment was upheld. Personally, I think there's only one point that I never got it right. If the court found that Gachagua, his rights were violated, then why did then rule out the fact that the process was not quite good? Because you cannot have a double standard whether you say that his rights were violated, then now you want him to be paid back 50 million shillings. If his rights were violated, then I guess personally, as my to my own perspective, I guess Gachagua then should be reinstated as the DP. But now, in a situation that you want to tell us that rights were violated, he get compensated, but you want him to be reinstated the DP. I don't think that it brings some kind of sense. Yes.
And of course, hearing from your sentiments, it's like I'm getting the notion that yes, yeah, it's constitutional that he was impeached and he stands impeached, but he still has a political vehicle in terms of a DCP party.
Yeah.
And DCP is now they are in a coalition of the united opposition, which contains the likes of Jubilee, the likes of DAP, the likes of Wiper. How then does this ruling affect that united opposition? Because that is the opposition, that is the political coalition currently that stands to threaten the re-election of President William Ruto in 2027. Is there then another principle in the united opposition that, if fronted, can be able to give a serious competition in 2027 to President William Ruto? And will that be determined by whoever deputizes him in that coalition?
Well, thanks. I think personally, when the uh, when the ruling came out that the impeachment was upheld, I think it was some kind of a reprieve to the united opposition, because there were some like-minded like Kalonzo Musyoka, who had also been gearing himself toward the presidential as a flag bearer. We also have Fred Matiang'i for the Jubilee Party, and who else? Eugene Mala for the, which party is he?
DAP.
DAP actually. I think all these three people were all fit for this job. But now that Gachagua is now ruled out that he cannot vie for this position, I guess Matiang'i can work well, because number one, Matiang'i is very workaholic. I have known him since he was the Minister for Education. Matiang'i was very workaholic. He can have an impromptu visit when nobody expected him. And I guess if we have such kind of leaders in this country, then I guess we're in a better position of transforming as a country. But now here comes the person that is now much influential. That is Edwin Sifuna. Sifuna gained supremacy when he wanted to be kicked out of the ODM as the Secretary General, which I think, as ODM people, the hierarchy then need to reinstate reinstate Sifuna as their DPB, as their Secretary General, because Sifuna has now influence nationwide. And if Sifuna can give a good run for the presidency if given opportunity. Now, my take on the presidency, then I guess Edwin Sifuna, if matched with the Matiang'i, these people are very workaholic. They are very principled. When you hear them talking, then you can see some leadership in them. Yes.
And if you then say that the Matiang'i Sifuna ticket can be the one that is formidable in 2027, then where does that leave Kalonzo Musyoka? Because a lot of observers also are saying that this is the final stab for Kalonzo Musyoka, considering his age and also considering just his political muscle. Where does that leave him?
Well, I can't rule out Kalonzo Musyoka. He's a good person, very intelligent. How he carries himself, very perfect gentleman. But personally, when I talk about Kalonzo, is one person who I don't describe him as the best fit for me, because as much as we are saying that this is not his last term, let me say, because he has never had. Since then, he's been deputizing Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
So you cannot rule out the fact that he has not tested this, and probably this might be his first time. And going forward, he'll be now on the presidential campaigns as one of the flag bearers of Wiper Party. Uh, uh, Kalonzo Musyoka, on my perspectives, I see him as a person who is more lethal politically. He's a heavyweight. But there are some things that are always being considered on matters presidential candidates. Because number one, as much as fit for the position, but I don't think he can garner as much as 4 million votes. Because most of the time, he always takes on a Kombani side. He's like a gachagua who is only busy concentrating on the central part of Kenya. So having that national unity in him, I guess he has a hill to climb. Because going all around the country, trying to persuade these people at least to vote him, is going to be difficult. As much as he had been supporting Raila Odinga since then. So I think somehow Kalonzo Musyoka cannot make it. Yeah.
And then what do you take of the people who reason that for Kalonzo Musyoka, for him at least he has solid votes in terms of he has proven votes that in previous elections when he was backing Raila Odinga, he was delivering that Ukambani vote. But the reason that for somebody like Sifuna, some say that it is only online hype, that he doesn't have a proven track record, because they're saying the last time he tried to vie in Kandui, he wasn't successful. But also comparing his political stature the time he was vying in Kandui and also now, he has really evolved. And also for Matiang'i, people are saying also that he doesn't have a proven political constituency, because he doesn't have proven votes, because he hasn't been in elective politics before. Are they then wrong to reason that way?
Not really. Kalonzo Musyoka, if you can check on his political bloc area, I guess it's only in Kombani, because I can remember was it last year, 2022 general election, he only delivered 1 point something, 1.5 million votes from Ukambani. I don't think 1.5 million votes can take you to president. It's not. It cannot. That's maybe an eighth of a number. So I think for him to have that political influence nationwide, then I guess he need not to concentrate on Ukambani, but rather all parts of the country. It's try and persuade people that have been with Raila Odinga since then. Now it's my turn. Please give me a hand to lean on. And I think these people, when they get it from him, they can give him the votes.
Yeah.
Then we cannot dispute the fact that Sifuna, not only on online medias, but Sifuna has gained popularity, not only in medias and or maybe social media and whatever, all the platforms. On the ground, whenever you see people, they only sing of Sifuna. We cannot dispute that fact. Sifuna is now a force, and if not looked at keenly, Sifuna then can shock people. Yeah, he has muscles. Sifuna is now a force to reckon, and I think he needs to be given consideration on matters presidency.
Yeah.
If we need to consolidate votes from the Gen Zs, not to these other gens. I guess Sifuna needs to be considered much.
Yeah. And of course, also talking about the united opposition, they'll be going against the sitting president, that is President William Samoei Ruto. With then that ticket of Matiang'i and Sifuna as is, and with this other side of the President William Ruto, does the president go to it as having Kindiki as his deputy, or should he maybe change the person that will be deputizing him in that election in 2027? And if he doesn't then change Kindiki, how does that change the equation in terms of, even if he wins, how will that affect the margins if he goes with Kindiki or if he chooses somebody else?
Well, I think he need to go with Kindiki because number one, a reason as to why he needs to go with Kindiki is we need to neutralize the influence of DCP in central Kenya. Because I saw some of our people in ODM trying to lure president at least to give them position of DP, which I think for now, because president needs vote not only from Nyanza but entire country. So I don't think that he need not to be there. The Kindiki should be the DP come 2027. because it has been a norm that we were left in broad-based government as slow people from Nyanza. Then I guess if we were left there by the late Raila Odinga, may his soul rest in peace, then I guess we don't need, as much as we are going to negotiate on the table, then it should not be a mandatory that they should be given a DP position. Yes. As much as they are going to negotiate for the positions, then I guess the DP position should be left for Kindiki. Kindiki is very workaholic as compared to some of our people.
Yeah.
The only person that now is now staging herself to that position maybe is Gladys Wanga, which I think she need to go and concentrate on home of the county. Let Kindiki continue with his legacy. Yes.
Speaking of broad-based government and also the ODM party, the issue of ODM being in broad-based is already non-negotiable because they as a party have come out in each and every occasion that they get saying that they're in broad-based and then broad-based to stay. But in the ODM house itself, it's like the issue now of the succession after Raila Odinga is the issue that once in a while inaleta msukosuko hapo katikati hapo kwa chama, and as of now it's like CS John Mbadi is the one who is positioning himself to emerge as the next possible successor after Raila Odinga. Do you then believe that he has what it takes to be the next successor of Raila Odinga? And is it like that because of how his political experience is, of how his political stature is, or is it based on the fact that he's now the current CS of Treasury, and that makes him one of the senior most in terms of even the current government hierarchy, and also now the Luo leadership hierarchy?
Well, I perceive John Ngonga Mbadi to be the next looking pin. Because on matters consideration, I think on national unity, I think Mbadi is the senior most member of Luo from the national government, which I think, and how he always speaks publicly, can then tell you that this person now is very much ready for this position, because the man is very influential politically. You cannot dispute that fact. Mbadi is very workaholic. I've seen him for quite some time when we were discussing about the finance bill. He is very workaholic. He used to walk along the streets, heading to every shops, coming to Givenchy, talking to people, trying to persuade people that this finance bill is not about the burden of the people, but it's some kind of a relief to the people. So I think Mbadi is very workaholic. He may deserve the position as the next kingpin of Luo Nyanza. Gladys Wanga, well, as much as she's now positioning herself as the next Luo kingpin, I don't think that it is worth, because Wanga, I'm not having anything personal against Wanga, but there's now a rift there's now two factions in ODM. I guess you understand, between the Linda Ground and the Linda Wananchi. These two factions only came because now Gladys Wanga wanted to personalize things in ODM. You understand? Now, if you go against her wish, then perhaps it's now that you don't seem to be fit to be in ODM. That's the reason as to why you'd see nowadays, even when they were in Kirembe, the incumbent MPs never attended. Majority of them never attended because they were in contrary opinion to the Wanga, like the one for the Wanga. So these are some of the things that we need to iron out. Because number one, it's always said that united we begin, divided we beg. If there are two factions in ODM right now as we talk, then I guess they have no political influence to Ruto. They cannot have political powers and muscles to go and negotiate with Ruto, because number one, there are two factions. Now, perhaps they are now in a position maybe competing to each other, both the two factions, because if Ruto finds out that the Linda Wananchi is more influential than this one, the original one, the ground one, then perhaps he'll see it best fit for him to work with the Linda Wananchi than the Linda ground that is led by Wanga. Because ideally, I guess Gladys Wanga need to consolidate these members. They have a meeting. They iron out their differences. Then they now say they want to chart a new path together. If they will not do that, then it's very automatic that William Ruto, as much as now they are going to negotiate with them, then it's very automatically that William Ruto will not put them into consideration that much. Yes, because they will not be having political influence as compared to these other functions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, in terms of now ODM itself as a party, and it's likely that they're not going to field a presidential candidate in this next election in 2027. That will be the first time since ODM was formed in its 20 years of existence.
Yes.
Do you think that is the best idea, or should they have just also just fronted a presidential candidate so that that one can also increase their chances of bargaining with President William Ruto? Or is it that they have looked within and they have seen that the current ODM leaders that are there, none fits the caliber of being a presidential candidate in 2027?
When I try to look at the helm of the leadership of ODM as a whole, then I don't see anybody fit for that position. Because if you look at Oburu Odinga, because number one, it should be party leader is the one that should be the flag bearer of the presidential candidate of ODM. Now, if you look at Oburu Odinga is very much aged, and he always sometimes he get tired along. And when it comes to matter of presidential candidate, it needs some more energy because you'll be navigating all over the country, trying to persuade people to give you votes. But if you do it that consideration, then you see Oburu Odinga cannot fit that because Oburu Odinga needs some rest. I guess he cannot go more than 3 counties in a day, unlike how Ruto usually do it when he was vying for the position in 2022.
Yeah.
This person cannot do that, to do all this. Oburu Odinga is very much aged. He need to have some rest. I had always proposed that if Simba Arati could have been given this position, Simba Arati is very energetic. Simba Arati is a unifying factor. Simba Arati, I just love him, how he usually carry himself in public. And how I wish they consider him for this position. Because Simba Arati is very influential politically. And is very energetic. He can traverse all the counties. Let me say, like a number of counties in a single day. Let me say 5. Yeah.
Simba Arati, of course, it's like he's going for he's going to defend his seat in the Kisii gubernatorial seat, and of course that one will influence also how ODM strength is in that region. Do you believe ODM still holds the strength that it had in the Nyanza region, Mombasa region, and also Kisii region, and Kakamega and Busia in Western? Or do you believe the absence of Baba will now reduce the influence of ODM and post 2027?
Well, let me say the influence of ODM has totally reduced. Not even it's going to reduce. It has totally reduced. And mark you that in near future, you'll find that UDA is going to be the leading political party. Because number one, everybody in ODM always see themselves as the best fit for the position of a party leader. And if there is a wrangle in a political party, it automatically brings the differences. And if there is a difference in a political party, then everybody chats their own ways. So as I'm seeing it by now, there is high possibility that the people from the coast region, there's likelihood that they will have their own political party in that area. If you go to Nyanza, we will remain with our ODM. And if you are not sure, Simba Arati can as well be persuaded that they have their own. And probably he might even back up the Matiang'i.
Yeah.
Western people, they are now aligning themselves. There's has possibility that they want to form their own party as well. So if we're not keen enough with this ODM that the Baba left us, then there is high possibility that is now going to be dismantled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us, as we are almost summarizing the interview today, let us finish with the issue now, focusing on UDA, that is the ruling party. We have seen various by-elections that have been there ever since they came into power in 2022, as recent as the one we had in Mbere, where they won that MP seat. We had also some by-elections of MCA seats. They are winning all the seats. Now they are facing also a tough election in Mbere, but it's like on the ground, if you listen to the ground and if you also look at the happenings in the ground, UDA is also likely to clinch that seat. Do you think then it is going to be the first time that a sitting president is going to defend his seat on the same party that he came into power with? Apart from Moi, Kibaki came into power with NAC, but he defended his seat with PNU in 2007. Uhuru Kenyatta came with TNA, but he defended his seat with the Jubilee in 2013. William Ruto now comes in 2022 with UDA. Does he now find himself in a situation whereby he believes or he feels that UDA is a strong party and is still stronger than like it was in 2022, and there's no need to change into another political vehicle based on the fact that they've been winning these various by-elections that have been there in different parts of the country?
Well, I can remember very well when Ruko was appointed for the position of Secretary CS. Then I happened to meet some of my friends, and I can remember very well that I told them that whoever much Gachagua thinks that is the Mount Kenya kingpin, but I told them that mark you that UDA is going to win the position of member of parliament in Mbere when the by-election be held. They never believed me. Some even uttered some nasty word towards me because they were like I was demeaning DCP by then. But I told them you cannot defeat a sitting president in any way whatsoever. Ruto is a political master chess. He knows how to play his cards.
Yeah.
However much you can talk to the media, everywhere, talking to the people, talking negatively about him, but he knows how to play his cards. And perfectly, he understands that. When the by-election came, I guess the first person that uttered a nasty word towards me is the same person that later went on and called me the same very night and told me that Clinton, you're very right. Because number one, Ruto is one person you can talk ill about him publicly, and you will not see him maybe talking ill against you as well. He's the same person that plays cards on table. You talk publicly, he plays the chess on table, and he is very smart politically. The same case happened to we had another by-election in leave alone this position of a member of county assembly in Kariobangi. These are small seats. The Gachagua even bragged himself how he won the position of member of county assembly in Kariobangi. Let me tell you, the flag bearer of the position member of county assembly in Kariobangi was not even serious. He started campaigning in 2 weeks' time. But the other guy started campaigning immediately when Munovi died. Understand? So he has amassed people. He had people by him. He had persuaded people that is the best fit for this job. So when he went with the DCP, he went ideally that he had people with him. But the UDA candidate only went 2 weeks to election. So I don't think that he could have maybe persuaded people to vote him in.
Yeah.
So that's the reason as to why this man won. He never won maybe on merit that they had time. Every candidate, each and every political party's candidates were unfilled. No, UDA fielded a candidate in 2 weeks' time to election.
Yeah.
So that's the reason as why he won. So politically, I'm trying to say that we cannot write off William Ruto. I'm pretty sure that he's going to maintain the UDA coming next year when he'll be now vying for the position of president. Because UDA alone has influence nationally. UDA has a strong base on the Rift Valley side of Kenya and maybe the Nyanza, because since Raila died, when he left us in government, we have always believed, we as the people of Nyanza, we've always believed that the position that Baba left us in is the best position that now we are sure of taking us to the next government. So I'm very sure that Ruto is going to defend his seat with the UDA seat, with the UDA certificate. And I'm pretty sure that many people will be member of parliament, will be member of county assemblies, will be senators, will be governors via the UDA ticket. So take that to the bank.
Yeah.
UDA is going to have quite a good number of senators, governors, women rep, member of parliament, and member of county assemblies. Yeah.
Clinton, let's now, your last word on this interview, a conclusion, kwa ile camera. Talk to that young person who is has dreams of being an MCA, of being an MP, of being a senator, or even being a governor. A young person, it's their first time getting into elective politics. Maybe they're off campus, maybe wamekuwa tu wakihustle, but now they're seeing themselves as being leaders in whichever position in 2027, but wanaogopa maybe if they go to the primary elections they'll be rigged off because maybe they don't have money, ama wengine wanaogopa tu generally because they don't have the political experience and they feel that maybe their opponents have better experience than them. To that young person who's watching, because in these elections it's clear, if you see online the posters that are there, people who want to buy, a majority of them are young Kenyans. What is your word to them, because there are some of them pia wenye wanakuwa intimidated na wanaogopa? Into this camera tukimaliza.
Thank you. Number one, by the way, I never told you. I'm also aspiring for the member of county assembly in my constituency. And
which one should you be specific?
Member of county assembly on UDA ticket.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying I can remember very well when we had a demonstration about the finance bill, that is last year. Majority of Gen Zs who came out, by then they wanted to be in the negotiation table. And when the grievances were heard, then we felt that actually, and for a fact, we also need to be in this negotiation table. And I'm now speaking as one of the Gen Zs that since have been in my constituency, I've never seen any of the Gen Zs now getting on and want to vie for these positions. And since there was no one, then I decided myself, out of my own volition, not even ambition, for my own volition. When I sat down at night, I can remember I was off from the hustle. Then I was just with my kids, with my wife there. Then I started imagining that now that there is nobody within the constituency that want to vie as a Gen Z, and I feel, personally, I feel that I'm the best fit for this job. Because number one, the reason why I came with this idea, you can remember very well, I can remember very well when I took my CVs to one of the companies in Nairobi. I was very shocked when I was asked some kind of question that, who came with you? The question behind that was all the people that were in that company were taken by member of county assemblies, were taken by senators, were taken by MPs, were taken by governors. So they were taken there by their leaders. Like if the opportunity arises in Nairobi, most of the companies in Nairobi, these people are always given the priorities. Bring your people, bring your people, bring your people. So I was like, I presented myself because I had the credentials. But now that you cannot give me the position just because I have no one that held my hands, then it means I need to have this in mind, that I also need to vie for this position, so that these positions, when they are advertised, then I need to have people, my people on the ground, so that they can grab the positions. Because it's always very weird if you hear that there are positions within Nairobi County as a whole, the companies, the Nairobi County itself are offering jobs to the youth. Then you find that the member of county assembly is going as far as to up countries to go bring people to come and work in this company, whereas the people who elected him are neglected. They're only there. So I think that should not be the nation. Then I probably thought that it's now high time for the Gen Zs to wake up and grab these positions. Yes. Now, let me now try and talk to the young people that want to vie. We once said that if we'll not be involved in negotiation table, then that table should be broken. Because I think we are now well informed, we are well knowledged, and I think this is the best time that as the Gen Zs, we need to rise up and take these positions. Do not be coerced by anybody. Do not be threatened. Do not be intimidated. As much as you are doing the right thing at the right time, the Constitution allows us, the Gen Zs, as much as you've attained the age, the required age, you are allowed to vie in any position in Kenya. So it's my sincere request that as the Gen Zs, let's rise up, take this position. Let's grab them. If we cannot be involved in this negotiation table, then let's go and grab these positions. Because we have for sure, we know that we have people behind us who are ready to back up. The only thing, or the only fear that we as the Gen Zs have, is that those who have political muscle, like they're, they are wealthy enough. What I know personally, is that money can buy people, money can buy posters, money can as well buy rallies, but money cannot buy purpose. The purpose that I personally have for the people of my area cannot be bought with any amount whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I think these people, they can as well emulate the same. Have no money, but I've therefore decided that I will stand up for the position of member of County Assembly, and mark you that I'm going to vie for the position of member of County Assembly via the UDA ticket. Because I'm sure, as I've always seen, Mr. President has always been motivating these youths. And I guess this is the best time that me personally, as one of the youths, if I rise to these positions, then I'm pretty sure that the President of the Republic of Kenya, come 2027, William Samoei Ruto, is going to back up us, is going to give us support where necessary.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of anybody. Whoever much you have on matters wealth, on matters money, I don't care. I have nothing, but I have something in my head.
Yeah.
So it's my sincere request that all Gen Zs as well, you can get out, go grab the positions, because these people in this area, they have now decided that they want to grab all the opportunities. It's now high time we break the table, if not involved. Yeah.
So, Clinton,
Yes.
shukran sana.
Thank you.
We appreciate your presence on our show.
Yes.
I know it's an interview that tumepangia, but finally it's now happening.
For sure.
And of course, hope this is not the last one, so that even as we approach the elections, as you said that you're also an aspirant to the election,
sure.
you can also encourage other young people who also, as you said, want to vie, but wanaweza kuwa maybe wanaona ni kama it's a hard journey ahead, but
Sure.
at least with your presence on the show, wanaweza learn a few things or two, and also encourage each other as we move forward.
Yes.
And of course, if this is your first time watching Story Now Ochino, and maybe from listening to this interview, you have a contrary opinion on one or two topics that we have discussed here with Clinton, hapa chini kwa comment section, give us your comment, give us your opinion, so that even when Clinton himself goes and sits down and watches this interview, and there's some of your opinion or your comment, and maybe adjust a thing or two on how he views the current Kenyan politics. I've been host Ochino, then Kenyan who is a man, a boy, and also a friend. Till next time, keep it locked.